Odd Conduit Media.
Hey there, party people. Welcome to a side quest episode of Hyrule Podcasters. I'm your co-host, Pat, and today, and all weekend long, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of this beloved video game franchise. That's right, The Legend of Zelda was released on February 21st, 1986 on the Nintendo Famicom. And the rest is history. So this week, we have a side quest for you. We want you to put someone in your life onto Zelda. So go out there, find someone who likes video games or has too much time on their hands, loves adventures, maybe somebody who's just old enough to pick up the sticks, and help them find their first adventure through Hyrule. But what game should I tell people to start with? Great question, Pat. On this side quest episode, we're revisiting a conversation that we had a couple years back about exactly that. So we teamed up with the other brothers of Zelda podcasting, Sacred Realms, and with our combined experience determined the perfect game to introduce newcomers to Zelda. That's not all, though. Check out our Instagram or our Patreon to learn about how we're enabling you even further to accomplish this task. It's a secret to everyone, except for anyone who checks out our Instagram or Patreon. Now, Sacred Realms is a great podcast. If you haven't checked them out, I think you'll really enjoy the way that they work their way through Zelda games section by section. It's not an audio-only Let's Play like us, but rather a wonderful companion piece to your Zelda gameplay experience. Right now, they're playing through Tears of the Kingdom, and they're pretty deep into the game already. They also have some really great trading cards that they design. Check it out, follow them, listen to more episodes of their podcast. But right now, all I need you to do is join us in wishing Hyrule a happy birthday on this side quest episode of Hyrule Podcasters in collaboration with Sacred Realms.
What's it gonna be?
You are now listening to the
Hyrule Podcasters!
Welcome to Sacred Realms. It's a great day in Hyrule, y'all. Welcome to Sacred Realms, a Zelda retrospective podcast. I'm your host, Lyndon Willoughby, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Matt Willoughby, blood relative of mine. How do you do?
Oh, I do fairly well. I got to hang out with another blood relative of ours, the newest addition to our familia, little Sawyer. And so I was having some good baby snugs, and then you rudely tore me away from said baby snugs so that we could record said episode.
You were snugs in the chunk?
I was snugs in the chunk, and he was just being real snuggly and sweet. And he does this thing now where I like to whistle a lot, and I have noticed that when I whistle in his proximity, he's like very into it, and he like gets very smiley, and he's like very in tune. He's like looking at me very intently. So now I do it basically all the time when I'm hanging out with him. And so we were making some music and having a good time. And then
are you hoarding these things in your happy memory bank?
Obviously.
Are they going to give you the warm and fuzzies for an entire lifetime?
Absolutely. This is like the whole point of being an uncle. uncle is you get the warm and fuzzies without any of the like diaper changing or the screaming or the any of the other negative things about having children. So I get all the positives and none of the negatives.
Yeah, you know what they tell you about changing diapers as a parent is 100% true. Like, you have so much love that you just kind of like block out all the horrific war crimes that happen on the changing table. And I don't know what trick of biology that is, but hey, it's
called oxytocin.
That's the magic of parenthood right there.
Yes. So anyway, all that to say, I am fantastic. It is another great day.
Moving on from something vastly more interesting and personable than my child's dirty diapers. Let's go ahead and introduce our guests for this bonus episode. We are more than happy to be having another discussion with the amazing, yet the other duo of brothers in the Zelda podcasting space, the one, the only crew from
the Hyrule Podcasters.
We knew it was coming. So on brand. I love it.
Gotta do it. How you guys doing? It's good to see you again.
What's up, y'all?
We're great, guys. We're great. How are y'all?
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Well,
having a great night.
We are glad that you guys are back with us. We were guests on your show last time. You are guests on our show now, and it's been a really fun little collaboration. Our Twitter back and forth over the last couple of weeks has been pretty great, and the whole thing. Thank you for reaching out to get this whole thing started, because the initiative has spawned a friendship between brothers.
A beautiful friendship.
Two brothers. Two other brothers. Four brothers.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, I actually went back and listened to that episode on my drive running errands today, and we got a good episode out of that whole thing.
Yeah. We got a good episode. It was a good episode. Yep.
For sure. Definitely.
So to all of our Sacred Realms crowd, if you guys haven't checked that out yet, head over to Hyrule Podcasters, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm pretty sure you guys are mostly everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm. We're everywhere.
Sweet. They're everywhere. Head over
everywhere
there.
You want to be.
Yeah. Head over there and check out our collaboration episode, which is going to be one of their more recent episodes. It is just, it's a great time. We talk about what it's like to start a podcast, where Sacred Realms is going, how each of us got, how we all got to this point where we're running podcasts about talking about Zelda. So it's a great time. Go give that a listen. And, as always, give your like and subscribe to Hyrule Podcasters, because there's a lot of excellent people out there making Zelda content, and these guys are doing some of the best. So
thank you.
Give it a listen. They're great.
I mean, we think so. We have them on. When they had us on, we're just stroking each other's egos. This is an ego stroke, circle jerk thing.
Yeah, well, when you have that, exactly. Well, when you have like the repeat invite, it's like, hey, let's do this again sometime, and then you actually do it. It's like,
so it was actually good, not just like the socially correct thing to say.
Right.
This is a second date.
Ooh, I like that.
Very nice.
I
like it.
Stakes are lower. Everybody's a little more relaxed. You can kind of be yourself a little more. Not that
get a little weirder,
yourself, but maybe get a little weirder. Maybe get a little weird.
Yep. I'm always down to get a little weird, guys. You're opening a door. You're opening a door.
You hear that? Do you hear that? That's the sound of the door opening. Walk through it. Walk on through it. It wants you to walk through it.
I'm gonna walk through it, Ben.
We told Matt to get a little weird, and I don't know if the world is ready for that, but you know what? We're going to find out. All right. Before we get into the main topic of this here bonus episode of the Sacred Realms Zelda Retrospective Podcast, I want to get into a touch of housekeeping really quickly. As you guys know, listening to this, because if you're listening to this episode, then you either subscribe to our paid Apple Podcast channel, or you are a member of our Patreon community. Sacred Realms is a weekly re-examination of The Legend of Zelda, one little slice at a time. This is, of course, a bonus episode where we discuss a topic of conversation that is completely separate from whatever chunk of game we played this week. We talk about all sorts of stuff with all sorts of people. Had some great conversations. Looking forward to having yet another great conversation here tonight. We do appreciate your support as somebody who has taken a monetary jump into the extended Sacred Realms family. You guys are are absolutely wonderful, and truly we appreciate you putting your confidence and your hard-earned cash our way so that we can make some excellent bonus content for you. If you have not, so if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts and are not a member of our Patreon community, you can of course head over there, patreon.com/Sacred Realms Pod, where we have several benefits in addition to bonus episodes, monthly trading cards for one, but also the ability to, at the end of every season, vote on what game we play next. So if that sounds interesting to you, go get a slice of that action. It's a good time and a great community over in the Patreon. Let's see what else. If you have yet to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, be sure to go over there and do that. More reviews means that more people see our show, and we occasionally read 5-star reviews out here on the podcast, or at least on the main episodes of the podcast we do. So those always make us feel warm and fuzzy. We currently are maintaining an undefeated 5-star unanimous streak on Apple Podcasts, and that feels really nice, not gonna lie. So
absolutely. I mean, we do love that.
Well, yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
Just straight W's, setting them up, knocking them down. So thank you so much. Man, I think, Matt, you know what? The housekeeping section of bonus episodes is always like jazz, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a little low key.
We're really preaching to the choir here.
Absolutely. You know? We're not trying to sell anybody on anything. We're just like, thank you. It's just more of a thank you for being our patrons. Thank you for subscribing to our Apple things. And here is the reward that you get for X, Y, and Z. And really, to the lot of you that do all of this, it is just for you.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, feel special because you are. Alrighty, enough of that. Let's get into the actual topic of conversation for this bonus episode. I think we've got a really nice one that we're going to hash out here. The topic for this, the first bonus episode of the Link to the Past season, is for a person who is new to the Legend of Zelda series. Does the group consisting of Sacred Realms and Hyrule Podcasters, believe that person, this newbie to the Zelda universe, is better
virgin,
starting
maybe
off?
Say.
What's up?
Virgin, may we say.
We might. Yes, we might say that. Do we believe this person is better equipped jumping for the first time into a 3D Zelda title or a top-down, and why do we think that? So before we get into that specifically, I'm going to turn this over to Ben and Pat. Ben first and then Pat next. Will you guys tell us a little bit of history and background? Which of these did you guys start with a 3D or a top-down? And like, I don't know, I guess I was going to say, do you think that was like, I mean, is that the way that you would prefer to do it? But let's get into the actual thoughts and feelings about it later. Just which one did you start with? And
as we go through this conversation, at the end of the episode, we're all going to decide and vocalize which game we think a newbie should start with. So keep that in mind.
We want to get even more specific.
Yeah, exactly. Keep that in mind as we go through. The more general topic is definitely 2D versus 3D. But at the end, we're all going to go around and say which one we think a person should start with.
Okay.
So keep that in mind as we go through.
Ben and Pat, it's up to you.
Can I ask one clarifying question on the premise?
Yes, absolutely.
Is this person a newbie to video games, or have they played video games in their life? And this will just be their first Zelda game, because that would make a difference, I think, in my overall game pick at the end of this episode.
I would say we should assume that the person has played video games, but is not what would be classically identified as a gamer, because really anyone that would be classified as a gamer has played a Zelda game, but this is someone who has played games in general.
So to answer your first question to us, which was what was our Zelda introduction? So I was born just 4 months after the original The Legend of Zelda for the NES came out. Our mom was actually a huge, and it still is a huge video game player. I mean, she's a huge FPS player. Halo's her favorite series. She plays what's the zombie game, Patrick, that she plays with Aunt Becky? Dying Light. She plays Dying Light with Aunt Becky. So mom was always really into video games growing up. And so we had an NES growing up. And we actually watched her and my Aunt Becky play a lot of the games, I would say, when, we were too young to really play. I have distinct memories of when I was about 3, and there are pictures of me playing Super Mario Bros. On the NES and being able to beat it.
The legend goes Ben could beat Mario before he could spell, and all the adults could not.
I still cannot spell. So
I mean, look, dude, neither can I. And I literally type emails and make business decks for a living. So yeah, spelling is still not my forte. It's all
Spelling
good.
in English is difficult. It's very difficult.
So I can distinctly remember being a young child and playing The Legend of Zelda. I don't think I ever played The Adventure of Link when I was younger. And then the first game that I really remember playing and beating and owning my own was A Link to the Past, which is the season you're in right now.
Mm-hmm. And that is pretty much the same for me. I can't remember playing the original Legend of Zelda, but I definitely remember playing A Link to the Past, and Ben was a little more skilled at video games than I was. He's just 14 months older, and that made a big difference. So while Link to the Past was my first Zelda game, Link's Awakening was the first Zelda game that I played all on my own.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So definitely top down for you guys. I also began my Zelda journey with a top down title, and that was Link's Awakening. That was actually the first video game that that was the first video game that I have ever owned. I had played, I had kind of bounced around in some Mario games previous to that with relative Super Nintendos and things. But the first video game I ever owned was Link's Awakening on the first video game console I ever owned, which was a Game Boy Pocket. So,
the Pocket.
Nice.
Do you remember what color?
Red.
That's nice.
Wow, that's a hot Game Boy Pocket right there.
Red hot. And I have so
love
many.
it.
Do you still have it?
You know what? It's it might still be over at my parents' house. It's no longer functional. It had accidentally gotten put in a box in the attic one summer, and summers in Texas are absolutely brutal.
They're toasty.
Yeah, so it is fried, unfortunately.
Good paperweight. Still pretty.
Yeah,
It is still very pretty.
Rest in peace, the Game Boy Pocket.
So I think this is actually a very relevant question. So obviously Lyndon being 31, how old are you guys?
We're 35 and 34.
Okay. So that makes a lot more sense because I'm 28. And so I think it also comes down to where did you begin your gaming journey? Right. And for me, my very first video game ever was actually, I think it was Mario Kart. Playing Mario Kart with Lyndon and Dad and Jackson and not Jackson, Lyndon and Dad and occasionally Mom, kind of dicking around. So whereas y'all's very first gaming experience was top-down Zelda, my very first gaming experience was 3D, and it was 3D Mario. And then the first game that I ever actually played on my own was Ocarina of Time. So, I think it has a huge impact on the conversation to where you begin your journey, right? Do you begin it in the 8-bit or the 16-bit or the 3D? And that makes a big difference to where you engage with gaming as a genre. Right.
Definitely.
Well, and then of course, just with my age, then I ended up actually falling off and not playing. I mean, I haven't played Minish Cap, Phantom Track, Spirit Tracks, the Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, all of those Game Boy games. I'd kind of aged out of playing Game Boy regularly when those were all coming out.
Right.
And so I haven't played any of those. So when we get to those,
you're too busy doing track meets and getting my 3D and getting my Nintendo DS stolen at track meets.
Oh, dude, I love that. Oh my God. I am so glad that y'all are brothers because that's the kind of shit that you get with only siblings.
Yeah.
Oh yes. That's
and you didn't even have to replace it.
Yeah.
The banter.
Unforgivable.
We all go
Still
for.
Salty.
Unforgivable. Oh,
Still
man.
salty. Patrick, I feel like that bass amp I got you for your birthday one year kind of covered a lot of it.
Yeah. I was at college and I wanted to sell my bass amp back in in Ohio. And so I did. And I came back home and I had the money in my account, but the amp was still in the basement. I was like, it's been months. Why isn't this bass amp gone? And Ben was like, I bought it. Don't try to sell my presents. Keep your bass amp. Make music instead of doing whatever you're doing.
I paid for it twice. I paid for that amp twice.
Yes.
Oh man, you guys, you slapping a bass?
Hey, you can see Lyndon's bass behind us. It's like on the wall right there.
I see it. It's making me want to hang up mine. I'm excited to get it on the wall.
It was on the floor for so long. I was finally like, you know what? I should really like maybe get this out of the corner of my studio and put it on the wall. But
it likes the wall. Yeah. It likes the wall.
I'm a highly amateur bass player.
So am I.
That's because you bounce back and forth between lessons, whether you're taking bass lessons or actual guitar lessons. You can't decide. Okay? You can't decide one or the other. Come on, man.
No, my bad.
I just bounce back and forth between needing to play bass and not needing to play bass, and so
that's much more reasonable than whatever you do.
You're the worst, and I don't know why I do this with you.
The Matt and Pat team coming at him.
Yeah, let's go.
This guy.
Gatekeeping, talking about bass.
So we've done a few of these where there's another like pair of people that we're talking to. And every time Patrick just links up with someone on the other side and just goes real hard at the other person. This is just his thing. Like, he's just
I'm targeting.
We're teaming up.
Z-targeting.
Yeah, absolutly we are.
Hey, I get it.
I've Z-targeted Lyndon.
Divide and conquer.
It's like in Star Fox 64 when you can ask like Peppy or Falco or anybody to like just like attack a certain target. It's exactly like that. We're coming in. We're coming in hot, Pat.
Yeah,
coming in hot.
He's like a lion. He's circling around the pack, trying to catch the straggler off guard.
I didn't eat lunch. I'm hungry. You hunt better hungry.
That's some nature shit right there. I shall not let myself be consumed. Anywho, okay, so that's where everyone kind of started off with Zelda for the very first time. So very clearly a big swing towards top down, with three of us having started top down.
Just because y'all are old as shit.
We are.
Facts.
We all look great.
Facts.
Though.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't say you didn't look great. I think them two look great. You're meh, but they look great.
Anywho,
I'm not going to hop on the physical appearance disses, but
it's the beards. It's the beards.
We're keeping it together.
Matt drank his feisty juice tonight. I guess.
I did absolutely drink the feisty juice tonight.
Okay, so that's the history that we all have where we've started with Zelda. So let's go ahead and get into the main topic of conversation here, which is where do we recommend that this hypothetical semi-casual game player start their Zelda journey? And Ben and Pat, I want to once again turn this over to you guys first. Where does Hyrule Podcasters come down on this question?
I'll start it off. I think that the top downs are the way to go for new gamers, for new Zelda gamers. I have a lot of reasons. I'll try to get through it as fast as I can. I think that just in general, they're quicker. They're simpler in a lot of ways, and they accomplish what the 3D games strive for mostly. They don't get all the way there. You don't have nearly as much to explore, and having the full axis, the Z axis, it really opens things up. But I think that that's a good thing to start a little simpler. I think that a lot of the earlier top-down Zeldas, the colors are vibrant still. The gameplay is still excellent. The music's still wonderful. You're not going to strike out with a Zelda game in general.
Yeah.
So doing a top down as your first game, even if it's one of the oldest, is still going to be really fun. I think that the top down games also teach you as you play. So one of the things I dislike most about a lot of the video games that I love is talking to characters and having extensive dialogue, like the owl, in Ocarina, that's like telling you way too much. He's always, press the A button and then go over there. Whereas in a lot of the top down Zeldas, you're just like you get your shield, you find your sword, and you go and you learn, oh, you can fall down a hole. This is how you fight enemies, starting with basic enemies to get more difficult. And you don't have to have conversations with in-game characters.
Yeah. And that's so interesting because that was kind of a big point of feedback Matt and I had with Skyward Sword during that season 2 was that at some point, the amount of like text bubbles that you were having to just roll through was so much. And I think that is a very good point that is definitely the kind of thing that a person who's on the bubble with Zelda and video games in general might bounce off of. It's just kind of a lot of effort.
And I feel like this is me trying to sell somebody who hasn't played a Zelda game, Zelda. And I feel like if you start off with Ocarina, we're a few episodes in already. And sure, we've had some dungeon play, but there's also just a lot of conversation. I think the second episode, I spent 15 minutes talking like this because I was Zelda forever during that episode. And it's fun, but you have to go into it invested.
Yeah.
I also think, and this is my final point on the top downs that I have ready, locked and loaded, they're available and they're cheap. You can get, on your 3DS, you can get Link's Awakening DX. You can get A Link to the Past anywhere. You can get the Oracle games wherever. They're easy to get. They're accessible. They're on your Switch already, some of them.
Yeah. Well,
and that would make it, less of a...
Yeah.
People don't have to try as hard to get them. You don't have to spend $60 to do this.
And you've even got stuff like, say that somebody gets like their relative that new Zelda Game & Watch for Christmas or something, you know, and that's got like 3 of them immediately like, right. Oh yeah, you got it. Did you get it?
I'm like, Ben. I'm like, hey, Ben, this Christmas is coming up.
But yeah. And I was like, and that's maybe not the 3 most approachable versions of a top-down Zelda to get some, because it's got Zelda 1, 2, and Link, and the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening.
Right. 2 really good Zelda games and a clunker.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I definitely get your just ease of accessibility to those games argument for sure. Ben, are you kind of of a mind with Pat on that?
No, I totally disagree.
Yes.
And I think Matt, I think you'll appreciate. So, when I was thinking about this, there's such a variety. When you say, 3D, there's such a variety. I do think if we were sticking to your original premise to me, which was 2D or 3D, and I only could pick, and someone was going to have to choose one at random from one of those 2 categories, I think I would have to lean towards the 2D for the reasons that Patrick made.
Yeah.
But since we do get to select the game within that genre, that's the at least goal for the end of this. I'm using that as my tie-in. And so I really think that the most Zelda of Zelda games is Skyward Sword, which is a 3D game. And I think that is the best starting game for someone getting into it. I think that if you're trying to play a linear structured game that runs you through amazing dungeons, gives you the opportunity to do some minimal exploration, and while you're doing that exploration, encounter really interesting characters and not feel like, oh my God, I'm lost. I don't know where to go, which that feeling I think should never happen in a Zelda game.
I get that feeling all the time in Zelda games. It's welcome in a Metroid game.
Yeah.
It's welcome in Metroid Dread, but I hate it in Zelda.
God, I love
Skyward
Metroid
Sword.
Dread, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm playing that right now.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so good.
I've beaten it. It's amazing. But I think Skyward Sword does such a great job of putting you on a rail and having you directed through that entire game that I think that is probably the best starting point for somebody. Plus, I think it would be difficult if you were a gamer, like you're not a professional gamer, you're not a big deal gamer, but you're a casual gamer. I think it may be a little difficult for you to go back and have to deal with some of the crappier mechanics in some of the better 2D games like The Legend of Zelda, like The Adventure of Link, like Link to the Past, where there are some difficult things to get through in there that just don't make sense for a modern gamer. So if I'm a modern casual gamer, I think Skyward Sword is the way to go. So I got to put my hand in with the 3D game.
Okay, give me.
Can I just say, Matt is going to be insufferable for the remainder of this episode.
I found my new best friend.
I knew he would be.
I found my new best friend.
Patrick was trying to use this conflict
why you do this?
to build a relationship with Matt. I knew in my back pocket what I had.
Yeah,
I knew because I
Lyndon,
listened
is
to
it too
the
late to team up, Lyndon?
I feel like I don't have a choice now. I mean, like,
All right. Reluctant.
Oh my
reluctant.
God.
So that's me. That's me. That's
I want to
right.
hear, I want to hear the clunky mechanics and a link to the past real quick. You got any off the top of your head?
The clunky mechanics and a link to the past.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so my constant struggle with all 2D games that I have played in Zelda, including Minish Cap, which is my favorite 2D game so far, is there is absolutely a 0% of depth perception, and so many boss and enemy mechanics rely on depth perception. And we're actually going to get into that in our next episode that we're recording, A Link to the Past, with the Moldorm fight, the 3 Moldorms that are coming out. It's all about depth perception and knowing where they are on the map, and that is virtually impossible in 2D games.
Okay.
So just straight up off the top of my head, depth perception is
good point.
0.
and
I'm so used to the games that I won't lie. I'm a little, I'm clouded. I have on the goggles. I have the Zelda goggles on. I've played these games so much.
And I get that as well. I agree that there are some, especially Link to the Past, playing it now, I still think the game is wonderful, but there's definitely, there's a fluidity to the control even of like Link's Awakening that is not present in Link to the Past. There's something about the way that the sword slash works. It's a little... It's confined to like the 4 pixels that are directly in front of you. There's absolutely no horizontal or verticality to it whatsoever.
Well, that's why you walk around with your sword charged and do this.
Oh, dude, I do. I literally, that's how I beat Moldorm this time. Was literally I just like stuck the sword out and kind of walked around in a circle until I hit somebody.
Those aren't actually Moldorms. There's an actual Moldorm in this game.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna call it twin mold because it's basically twin
Wormy
mold.
dudes. Yeah.
Yeah,
the three
sandworms.
Yeah, they're twin mold. Triplet mold.
They invented that circle sword slash to make up for the fact that you could move diagonally, but you couldn't attack diagonally.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I actually hurt myself almost as much on the
You hurt Link or
pillar enemies.
yourself?
What are the pillar enemies?
What?
That shoot the lasers at you.
The Beamos.
Beamos.
the Beam Boys.
I hurt myself on
Beam
the
Boys.
big Beam Boys. I hurt myself on the Beamos by running into them. Almost as much as I did by getting shot by them because I couldn't tell if I was in the pixel that they were occupying or not. And like, there's just no sense of
very valid criticisms of like old game design kind of happening here. And so,
and that's, I mean, that's my biggest thing is, you're a casual modern gamer. I think you would run into some frustrations with that. I think some of the things that people complain about with some of the 3D games like Skyward Sword is they're like too linear, but like, I want to put this casual gamer on this, like, hey, just look at all the beautiful things like around you. So
and have some fun combat and like enjoy some fun items. Like,
okay. This is all good. Matt, I want you to go ahead and give your answer to this question. We know what it's going to be, but for the sake of posterity, just do your
for sure. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to fall in the same camp as Ben here with the 3D and again, coming at it from, I think the key word in Ben's entire statement is modern gamer, right? Like we have to view this as we're trying to introduce somebody to Zelda who is probably in their late 20s. Like, I don't know. Like we're going to go, I like the modern gamer phrase and I'm just going to stick with it. Like, there is a sensibility that people who engage with video games these days have that just does not exactly mesh with, unless they're just like a hardcore retro, enthusiast. Yeah, thank you. The 2Ds are not exactly going to mesh with them. The prime example to the opposite of that being the Link's Awakening remaster, which is just a phenomenal up tick of everything that's great about the 2D Zeldas, and then you bring it into this generation, and then you have the Link's Awakening remaster. I think if I was going to ever recommend a 2D to someone who's never played a Zelda, it would be Link's Awakening remaster. Regardless of that, 3D, and especially everything that Ben said was exactly the line that I was thinking, because the way that I approach Zelda games, and this was my entire through line with why Skyward Sword is my absolute favorite, is it's easy to engage with. It's easy to understand. It has a very set path. It has the best dungeons. It has amazing combat mechanics, and it's not obtuse in any way. And like sometimes as a seasoned Zelda enthusiast, I wish it were more obtuse. But if I were trying to get someone into Zelda at the very beginning, to like get them introduced, to get their feet wet, you don't want it to be so obtuse that they don't feel like they can engage with it. And like when it comes down to it, Link to the Past, A Link's Awakening, the older games, not necessarily, I don't think Ocarina of Time has this particular issue. Majora's Mask definitely has this issue, is like they're so obtuse that you cannot really engage with them unless you have an understanding of the way Zelda games work in general. Skyward Sword doesn't suffer from that, so it's a good jumping off point in that way.
So
Interesting.
I guess I'm gonna get my word in edgewise here. Pat, I agree with you. I think that top-down Zeldas are kind of are probably the most succinct way to get somebody into Zelda as a series. And I have a lot of reasons for that. I think that when you're talking about people who have not played a lot of video games, there are still certain things, like certain tidbits of video game knowledge that are just so like culturally, like they're such a part of modern culture, like they've saturated to such a point that people just know them mostly. And one of those things is going to be Mario. Like tons and tons and tons of people know what Mario is and how it works. You like side scrolling Mario, like you go from one side of the screen to the other. If somebody touches you, you get hurt, you jump on guys, make it to the end of the level. Right.
Yeah.
And so mechanically, it's a very rudimentary style of game, and but people just kind of know it and they're inherently comfortable with it in a lot of ways. And I think that top-down Zelda is obviously much more complex than that, but it is still similar enough to that to where I think a lot of the ingrained knowledge transfers. Like you have more directions that you have to work with rather than just left to right.
Right. You got an extra axis.
Yeah, you do. But still, you're still constrained to just the top-down view. You don't have to worry about things like camera control, aiming, all the like things that people who have played a lot of video games.
What's going on behind you?
Exactly. Like the one thing that I've noticed about people who don't play a lot of video games trying to play a 3D Zelda for the first time is that they tend to get kind of lost in the like. There tends to be an overwhelmed feeling about just like, okay, this world feels massive. I don't even know what to do. It's overwhelming, right? And Ben and Matt are both right that Skyward Sword does alleviate some of those issues just because it does ferry you along pretty easily from point to point. But you still have got issues of camera control, movement through a three-dimensional space, three-dimensional platforming in some ways, aiming of weapons. And Skyward Sword specifically, you've got that whole extra added layer of the directionality of the sword.
So, I mean, I want to talk to that point specifically is if we're approaching this from the standpoint of somebody who has engaged with video games in at least some form or fashion, I don't think the 3D axis would be a barrier to entry there. If we're talking about someone who's never engaged with video games in any way, shape, or form, then I think the 3D axis would definitely be
to define video games. So more people play video games now than ever, and that's not just because people have Switches and
it's
Xboxes
mobile
and
games and PC
yeah,
games
people have
and Facebook games
Candy
and,
Crush.
Yeah.
So like, I guess we should define our gamer. I think that it's fair to say Candy Crushers don't count as video game players in this specific context.
For sure.
But I do think that there's plenty of people that maybe they only play games with their friends. Like they play some Mario Party and some Smash Bros. And they played the Untitled Goose Game, and maybe they played some Halo when they were kids. So like those like first person shooters, maybe they won't have as hard of a time with a 3D game in that way, but you still have an extraordinarily large map to explore. So you would kind of get lost.
So
and this is where,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I was saying, but I will say this is where just as we get into this discussion more, where I do have a bit of a blind spot, right? Because since I pretty much stopped playing 2D games at Link's Awakening, right? I haven't played any of the other games, any of the other 2D games that have ever come out for Zelda. Right. And so that does. So, when I am trying to think like what makes a clunky experience versus a non-clunky experience, if I'm using that as like my main indicator, well, having not played Spirit Tracks, I'm not really sure. The only thing I know is you have to use the stylus. So I definitely might not suggest that game. Right. Yeah. But like I've never played Minish Cap. Maybe that's a quicker, easier. It flows really nicely. And so just that is a blind spot. And I mean, obviously all come with our biases.
You have played A Link Between Worlds.
That is true. I have played A Link Between Worlds.
That's a great game.
Is a really, really good game, and honestly might be a contender for an entry point.
Is it an entry? Yeah, but in that game, like I'm tainted by the fact that I have played A Link to the Past.
Sure,
right?
And
it's so familiar.
You know what I mean? The First Encounter podcast. I wonder if both of them have played A Link to the Past, because if one of them hasn't, I would love for whoever hasn't to play A Link Between Worlds, because without the nostalgia factor, without the experience of A Link to the Past, I still think that game would be incredible. So and maybe be one of the best entry point games.
I kind of agree. I had played A Link to the Past one time before playing A Link Between Worlds. And the thing is that I think there's not really, obviously A Link Between Worlds is a sequel to A Link to the Past, but I think that the story beats are so minimal and like the backstory is explained well enough to where it's not like you're going to not understand what's happening if you haven't played A Link to the Past, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Space Jam 2. You don't have to see Space Jam 1 to watch Space Jam 2, but you should probably just watch Space Jam 1 and maybe skip Space Jam 2. Unless you got like kids or something.
No, was it that bad?
I actually haven't seen it yet.
It was maybe 30% fun, and then there just wasn't enough Looney Tunes.
It wasn't Space Jam 1, basically.
It wasn't enough wacky Looney Tunes.
Not enough Looney Tunes. A little bit too much of the rapist
LeBron James
from Clockwork Orange.
LeBron did good.
Okay. The Space Jam of everything aside. I definitely
Space Jam aside.
Yeah. So, okay. Link Between Worlds, good contender for like entry if we're assuming top down is the place to start. I guess so we've all kind of said where we think a good place to start is just in terms of top down versus 3D. Ben, you've already said which game you think is the best place to start. Pat, where are you at with that? What do you think is the best starting place in terms of a specific game?
I came in here with A Link to the Past ready to go. I was going to argue for A Link to the Past the whole time, but again, I've played the game like 5 times just in the last 10 years. And I think that I'm a little blind, I have the blinders on, the clunky game mechanics that I'm not, and I do remember like getting lost in the game a lot. And so I'm going to shift over to my favorite Zelda game. I think that the remake of Link's Awakening would be the best entry point because it has, because like, look, I love the DX version. That's my favorite version, but the remake solves a lot of the issues that exist in the DX version. You get an acorn, you have to read 8 dialogue boxes, stuff like that. The screens, are very tight. It's more open and it looks good. And check this out. I was on an airplane. I told this story, and I think in our last episode or something, but I convinced this guy sitting next to me who was playing Animal Crossing to put my Link's Awakening cartridge in his Switch and start playing it. It was like a 5-hour flight, and he started on hour 2. and he stopped playing as we were landing. And I was like, I wish you lived in Portland. I'd just lend it to you. He was like, oh, I'm buying this the second I get Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there you go.
And I don't know if he'd ever played a Zelda game before. He said he wasn't like a big Zelda guy, but I was like, yo, you gotta try Link's Awakening out. So I think that's an easy sell and a really fun game.
So wholesale 100% Link's Awakening remaster on the Switch is 100% what I would recommend to somebody. This hypothetical person with limited game experience, that is where I would start them as well. And there are a few reasons for that. One, I think a lot of people just have Switches right now. So it's an easy reco, right? Like tons of people, whether they're parents who got a Switch to play like Mario Party or Mario Kart with their kids, or like, I don't know, they grabbed it because they wanted to play Mario's on it or Smash Bros or whatever. Like just tons and tons of people have
Animal
Switches.
Animal
Crossing. Yeah. They got a Switch in the pandemic because they were bored. Like tons of people have Switches. So,
it's 100 million. They're almost at 100 million Switches.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Coming off strong off of that Wii U downward
it was a
trend.
I'm sure you're talking about the 13 million units sold Wii U, right? I think that's actually the number. I really think it's
you are correct. Yeah, 13.5. Yeah. I had no idea it was that low. Oh my god,
that's just insanely low.
Wow. After 101 Wii's. 101 Wii's.
But it was just anyway, we can that's a topic for another time.
Okay.
But like so many people have Switches, and the thing is, I think the mechanics are where this becomes difficult is that Link's Awakening does have a few progression points from one thing to the next thing that are a little like not as explained as clearly as they could be, and maybe someone ends up wandering around more than they need to be trying to figure it out. But I think the base mechanics are simple. You get the sword immediately, and it speaks for itself. Don't get touched by enemies, hit them with the sword. That's how you do damage. And in addition, Link's Awakening is a game that you can pick up for 30 minutes and get something appreciable done and then put down. And I don't think you can say that for most 3D Zeldas, and certainly not Skyward Sword.
I totally agree with that. And that's something that I wasn't even thinking of, but I have a hard time with games that I have to put an hour plus into in order to get somewhere, because oftentimes I only have a half an hour. And especially a Switch user, maybe I'm commuting, maybe I'm on the train downtown, pop the Switch out, play around. And now the criticism that you offered of Link's Awakening is that sometimes you might get lost. But I will say the remaster is beautiful to get lost in. The characters are intriguing. All the characters have so much life. Each section looks so much different. So, and it's fun to cut grass. It's not
you get money for it.
You get money for cutting grass, and and you don't have an allergy attack. And you don't break a sweat. So even if you do get lost, it's still not the worst game to get lost in.
Matt, I believe you have a point.
Yeah. So if I were to have this conversation with someone and they say, I want to start with a 2D game, the only game that I would recommend would be Link's Awakening Remaster. And I say that because Link's Awakening Remaster was, in my adult life anyway, the first 2D Zelda game that I played. I've played a lot of others, but I was, 10, 15, 13 maybe. And it's just like, but the Link's Awakening Remaster is just everything good about a 2D Zelda, and you put a really fresh, sexy coat of paint on it, and you make it more approachable. And the Link's Awakening Remaster is everything that you want out of a 2D Zelda game in the modern day and age that doesn't include a stylus mechanic. So,
So Nintendo.
Exactly. And so I am
weird sometimes.
They really do. I am all aboard the Link's Awakening Remaster. And when I played the Link's Awakening Remaster, I had never played Link's Awakening before. And I didn't ask him for help. I didn't look at guides. I went through the game, and obviously I'm a Zelda veteran and I'm just a gamer just in general, but through all of that, I just enjoyed the journey so much that it's not that I would not recommend that someone play a 2D Zelda game It's just that to me, if you're trying to engage somebody in the Zelda franchise, start them out in a place where they can become invested in the characters and in the story and in the world and in the lore and in everything associated with Zelda. And to me, that is more heavily encapsulated in the 3D games, specifically from an approachability standpoint. In Skyward Sword, just because of its linear nature, its incredibly heavy focus on story and characters and lore.
So is your answer Skyward Sword as well, Matt?
My original answer before Ben made all of his really poignant and amazing comments was actually going to be Ocarina of Time. But I have to like step back and take my own experience out of the situation, because Ocarina of Time was my first Zelda game, my first game in general. And so I'm looking at it from the perspective of someone who comes from a background who may play FPS, may play a little bit of, linear story games, not necessarily Skyrim or just like a story-based game. Yeah. Looking at somebody who comes at Zelda from that perspective, I do think that Skyward Sword actually ends up being the most approachable on the Switch. On the Switch. No, that's the clarifying point.
That's important.
On the Switch, without the motion controls, using stick and button, I think Skyward Sword actually becomes the most approachable from a Zelda newbie standpoint, because it is linear. It is very, I wouldn't say hand-holdy from the Switch perspective, but you can make it more hand-holdy, which if a Zelda newbie might need more fee than, a Zelda veteran. So it has those things that a newbie might need to avoid the frustration and obtuseness.
See,
but I know exactly what your point is. Your point is going to be that Zelda is about exploration and figuring out mechanics for yourself, and it's about figuring out puzzles.
That was not my point, for the record.
Okay, well,
that's a good point.
It is a good point for a Zelda.
Yeah, we'll put it on our side. Thank you.
For a Zelda veteran, for a Zelda veteran, that is exactly what you should expect from a Zelda game.
Skyward Sword, and in general, not even most 3D Zelda games, with one exception. We'll talk about this as our last point of discussion. I do not think any of the 3D Zelda games have the moment-to-moment burst gameplay that is required to keep somebody interested who is not already interested in that kind of game.
Oh, I totally disagree.
Like, I think with the top-down games, you're constantly, like, you've got enemies in every screen. The map itself is smaller. Like, the world map of Link's Awakening is not large. Like,
no.
It's
it's a tiny island.
Yeah, it's concise. And I just think that there's for a person who is looking to have a fun experience with a video game in manageable chunks, I think that is going to be the top downs and Link's Awakening specifically. Ben, to you.
I've changed my mind. I also go with Link's Awakening.
Oh, a fourth quarter change up.
You guys were Lyndon and Patrick were very persuasive.
Yeah.
The thing that got me was when Patrick was talking about how does a modern gamer play, and they play in smaller chunks. And I was actually playing Skyward Sword with you all through, I think, Lanayru Desert the second time around. And I fell off because work picked up a little bit, running picked up a little bit, and it's just like, I only want to play that game when I can sit down for 90 minutes and play the game. And I don't think the person that we're talking about thinks about playing video games in that capacity. They are going to, and that was really nice because when I played Metroid Dread, speaking of the game we played earlier, but also when Patrick loaned me the Link's Awakening, it was nice just to pop it in for 20 minutes. Actually, I bought the Game & Watch thing, and I've already played like half of the Japanese version of the first Zelda, because I can play for 10 minutes, get a little entertainment and set it down. And Skyward Sword, it wants a little too much, I think, for our modern casual gamer.
For your modern casual gamer, but for me, as a single guy, I'm not married, I don't have kids. Yes, my job is incredibly stressful, but my weekends are totally free, so I can spend like 6 hours playing video games. But
Okay.
here's the caveat. If you are not me, if you are married, if you have kids, if you are trying to engage with video games in a 30, 45 hour, even an hour and a half increment, if your increment is an hour and a half or less, Skyward Sword is not the game for you.
Yeah.
That is a completely valid and true statement.
You know, and
If
I would
you're-
even say that any 3D Zeldas aren't the game.
I have to agree.
During the pandemic, I tried to play Ocarina for the first time. So, I mean, I've played it, but I tried to beat it for the first time, anticipating the season that we're currently on, where we're playing through Ocarina. And I drank a lot in isolation, you know, and I would pick up the game and, you know, be a little toasty and just get kind of like, it's kind of dragging on. I want to do something else now.
May I show you my whiskey shelf?
Oh my goodness. I got to get to Texas. I'm booking a flight.
Let's go.
And
So the one pushback I would give, and it's the game that we're all flirting around and no one is talking about for good
I know
reason,
where this is going.
Breath of the Wild.
is
well, hold on.
you can play Breath of the Wild in 30-minute chunks. You can play it in 5-hour chunks.
Hold on.
Like,
Hold on a second.
I don't know, man.
I can pick up Link's Awakening DX or the Switch version and play it for 10 minutes and be happy.
but that also gets us into the
but-
conversation
Ben,
of is
you-
Breath of the
you
Wild a
preempted
great.
my
And now
segue.
here we go. This is the encore. This is the encore that is inevitable.
Is Breath of the Wild the best Zelda game ever made, or is it even a Zelda game? That's the question.
even a
Just the
Zelda
best
Is it
game?
even a Zelda game?
Is
That's
it a
the
game?
question.
Is it my entire life?
I don't know.
Do I exist outside?
Is it Skyrim with a Zelda skin? Because that's how I feel about it. Is
Here's
it
the point.
Skyrim with a Zelda skin?
Here's the point that I want to make getting into the end of this whole thing is like we've made a lot of great points in regards to like classic 3D Zelda and then top-down Zeldas and the merits of both. But there's this weird thing about Breath of the Wild. I don't know what it is. It's not a small game. It's not like it's a super approachable game necessarily. It's very intimidating in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But it's got
Yes.
this weird thing going on where like my wife has played it and wants to play it more, and she doesn't play video games. And like I've heard that from tons of people. There's something about the way that it presents itself, like the approachable nature of its open world and its systems and like the presentation of all of it. I don't know. There's some allure
So
that
I
brings
agree.
people in.
And I think that if somebody wanted to play a game, you know, a Nintendo game, and I just want to get them into video gaming, I'm going to go with Nintendo. That's all I really play. Giving them Breath of the Wild would be great. But this is about getting somebody into the Zelda franchise. And I think that giving them Breath of the Wild, they're not going to understand. So it's funny. The two games that we voted on, right? Link's Awakening won out, but Skyward Sword was the contender, right? Neither of them have Ganon.
No.
Neither of them are the classic Zelda, Ganon, Link storyline, which is okay because they still encapsulate the feeling and what it's like to play a Zelda game. I don't think Breath of the Wild does. I think that there are moments in the shrines where it feels like you're in a room in a dungeon, and there's like enemies that you fight that feel like you're fighting bosses from old Zelda games. But I don't think that you could sell somebody on the Zelda franchise with Breath of the Wild. You might get them into gaming, but it might not be Zelda.
I completely agree with that statement. I think, and it really comes back to me for Breath of the Wild is one of the best video games of the modern generation.
Oh, certainly.
But it just in what I look for in a Zelda game and in what Zelda means to me as a franchise, Breath of the Wild does not necessarily meet the top qualifications. And
Sure.
and like I think that Breath of the Wild is the easiest point of entry for someone who you want to get like, Zelda's kind of cool, maybe check it out. And then but then as soon as you like actually have them play another Zelda game, they're like, wait, this is
frustrated.
Yeah, this is absolutely nothing like Breath of the Wild. I don't know, like what am I playing?
To a horse?
Yeah,
exactly.
This is nothing like what I'm used to. So you're gonna go from getting them semi-invested into gaming / Zelda, whatever, and then you try to put them into a real quote unquote the very generous quotes real Zelda game, and they're just going to be like, this is not at all what I want.
I definitely agree that if you were to start a person, never played Zelda before, if you were to start them on Breath of the Wild, you are definitely pre-biasing them against. I don't know against, but
every other game. Every other.
Oh, absolutely.
You are setting their expectations inaccurately for what the remainder of the Zelda
Correct.
series is.
Yeah, dungeons are hard.
Dungeons are super hard.
Yeah.
You know, Breath of the Wild has sold 25 million copies, which is double the next closest competitor, which is Ocarina of Time.
Dang.
That's actually incredible.
That's the Switch, man.
That's just
nuts.
incredible.
It's nuts.
And I have to say, so two things. One, a matter of like semantic wordplay. I think that Breath of the Wild is the best video game out of the Zelda franchise,
Period.
but it's not necessarily the best Zelda game, right?
Also agreed.
Yes.
And then
yes.
also in 6 years, when we're all old and hooked up to machines, because apparently we're old people, Breath of the Wild might be the right entry point, because Breath of the Wild 2 and 3 might have come out.
Totally possible.
And the Zelda franchise might look completely different. But for right now, in 2021, I'm sticking with the Link's Awakening remake.
How weird is it to think about a world in which there exist not 2 but 3 major flavors of Zelda? You've got top-down Zelda, traditional 3D Zelda, and then
open world. Skyrim Zelda. You've got Skyrim
Crazy.
Zelda. Yeah.
Skyrim Zelda.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a beautiful thing.
And honestly, I can't imagine a better.
I'll take it.
I can't imagine a better scenario to live in. Honestly, because
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, whatever Zelda flavor you want, you can get, and that's the world I want to live in. Is whatever Zelda flavor I want, I can get.
And if you want, you can go LARP.
Ooh, I love LARPing.
Zelda LARPing.
I love LARPing.
Zelda LARPing.
So I think where we're landing with Breath of the Wild, just to tie this whole thing up, is that if we're looking for somebody, like if we're talking about a person who we're just trying to we're saying like, look, maybe you don't even play games all that much. We're not trying to get you into Zelda on an ongoing basis, but you're
not just a Candy Crusher, but
like,
you don't play too frequently.
You need to find a way to unwind and relax and just get away for a few hours.
Breath of the Wild.
Then I think that's Breath of the Wild, because the amount of time that you can spend just jacking around in that game for relaxation's sake is infinite. It never ends.
Sure.
If you want to play Horse Simulator, you can go like have a bunch of horses. If you want to go cook some meals, you can go do that. If you want to go just like mine some ore, you can do that.
You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Build a city.
My friend Henry, who listens to our podcast, he and his 4-year-old daughter play Breath of the Wild. He has one Joy-Con, she has the other, and they do things like climb trees or feed apples to horses for a half an hour. But
that's awesome.
Again, that's not Zelda gameplay. That's not
right.
Puzzles, dungeons, enemy
combat.
gauntlets.
Yeah.
Trade games. Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I think that 1, 2, 3 Link's Awakening remake wins. If you want to stand fast and strong with the Skyward Sword, I think that's a good take two.
A good dissenting opinion.
A good dissenting opinion, certainly. And I think that we should note
He's
it. He's
questioning himself.
So here's no. I am. So here's where I'm going to land with this. Here, my official ending position, because honestly, I was honestly kind of on the fence with this to begin with, of how much I've loved Link's Awakening remaster on the Switch.
It was really fun listening to you play it.
Thank you.
That's a great season.
Thank you. I really, really just enjoyed it. So I was already on the fence. All of the arguments pro 2D have made it more difficult. I am, however, going to say that I am 60-40 on the Skyward Sword versus Link's Awakening remaster,
Cool. Nice.
which is a lot more towards the 2D than I thought I was going to end at the end of this discussion. But I do really, just because, and it all comes down from where I approach games, and that I love story. I love lore. I love combat. I like those are the things that I approach games for. Like when I play Doom, I like go find all the lore that I can in Doom, and I read all the lore that is in Doom, and everyone else is like, dude, I'm just here to kill some demons. And I'm like, no, dude, but the lore is super cool. And they're all like, no, dude, demon killing. And I'm like, not lore. So like, that is a position that I know is not necessarily
both of those games
shared.
have so much fun lore.
So much fun lore. It's awesome.
Have you played the Dark Souls games?
The Dark Souls games have defeated me from a combat.
The lore combat. That's all they are. Lore and combat.
The combat. So the combat is Dark Souls is the only game that has ever defeated me from a combat perspective. I have beaten Halo 2 on Legendary, and I just cannot beat Dark Souls.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Dark Souls has defeated me, which is very rare.
I'm gonna try and get him into Hyper Light Drifter pretty soon here. I think he'd like that.
I think I would. Like
people keep telling me to do it. I should probably try it out.
Take the plunge.
How funny is it? How telling is it that both the games that we've been arguing about back and forth are remakes?
So true.
Nintendo really invests in their own products. You know, I'm clearly not a multi-billion-dollar international corporation, but as a recording artist,
wait, are you sure?
I'm not sure. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, still broke.
Okay. I'll say, wait.
But as a recording artist, I'm very self-referential. I listen to my old records and I, talk about some of the things that I do a lot of callbacks. And I remember a friend of mine, Duncecap, who is also a gamer, but is more on
I love video games.
I love video games. Is also a gamer, but on more like the PC Xbox side. He finally got a Switch. It was his first Nintendo console. And him being like, why are you so self-referential? And one day being like, you know what? You're investing in yourself and I like it. And then he got a Switch and I'm trying to bring him over to the Nintendo side. And I think that it's not just narcissism and it's not just trying to milk your fans for more money. They genuinely made two of the best games. As like, we're all Zelda players and we agree that these are head to head, possibly the best Zelda games out there for new players, and they're remakes. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I hope that they continue to do that.
It's not like Bethesda remaking Skyrim 7 times.
Right.
10-year anniversary, baby.
I mean, 100% honest.
Wild.
I've bought every version of Skyrim except for the anniversary edition, because I just do generally love that game. But you're absolutely right. Like they take everything that people love about these two classic games, and then they try their best to remove the detractors and engage with a new audience. And specifically, Lyndon and I talked about this so many times throughout the Skyward Sword season of the stick and button layout is just, it completely changes the dynamic with which you engage that game for the better, which I did not expect, because I actually really liked the motion controls.
Me too.
And like,
everybody's talking about how they like the stick button, but
I like the stick and button more.
Wow.
I did.
Cool.
I love the motion controls, but I like the stick and button more, which I did not expect to happen. And the way that they were able to take this game and just give it to a whole new audience, and they were able to remove so many of the negative things and just put it into a new generation. Was just impressive.
Thing.
Absolutely.
Ben, are you done with Skyward Sword yet?
Yes.
No,
he was.
Ben.
Matt's
sorry.
done. Well, try to finish it before Christmas because I want to borrow it. Did you get a physical?
Yeah, Tommy and I split it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's
All
really,
right.
really finish it up. It's a lot of fun. But just to put a cap on it and to state it again succinctly, the consensus is that for this hypothetical person trying to get into Zelda games for the first time, we, the combined forces of Sacred Realms and Hyrule Podcasters, do recommend the Link's Awakening Switch remaster with a strong secondary in the form of Skyward Sword HD, also on the Switch. So
Basically, just buy a Switch and play some Zelda.
there we go.
So funny.
There you go.
My favorite game wins again. Pew, 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 pew. I didn't even come in with that on the lock.
Put it in the win column.
Put it in the win column.
Guys, it has been so freaking much fun having y'all on to talk
Absolutely.
about this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was great.
The two brothers.
The four brothers.
Again, and not for the last time. I think we're going to be regrouping again in a slightly more normal Sacred Realms episode kind of way here before too long. So
I've started the game again to get to the point.
did we decide which dungeon you guys are coming on for?
Yes, I believe we're coming on for the
Skullwoods.
Yep.
Ooh, that's
Sweet.
the Christmas one.
Oh gosh, yes it is.
Yeah, it comes out on the 22nd.
Merry Christmas. We're going to Skullwoods.
I was like, wait, Skullwoods is Christmas themed, the dungeon?
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
you never. It's like, hey, Die Hard's a Christmas movie and Skullwoods is a Christmas dungeon. You didn't know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Well,
Thanks so much for having us on. This was a
Yeah,
blast.
thanks so much. This was great.
absolutely. Hey guys, where can people follow you if they have an inclination to do so?
So you can follow us on Instagram at Hyrule Podcasters
And you can follow us on Twitter at Hyrule Podcaster.
and pretty much everywhere else at Hyrule Podcasters.
We've worked on our SEO, so if you Google that, we should show up.
Yeah, you'll find us. You'll find us.
Yeah.
The podcast is available everywhere you pod, and
Come
we
hang out with
are.
us in Discord if you're more interested in just chatting up with
Yeah,
us.
we're ready to talk to you in Discord if you want to pop over there too.
And I'm going to tee you guys up one last time for your little deal that you do. Are you ready?
Oh yeah.
Always. We're always.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a bonus episode of Sacred Realms, a Zelda retrospective podcast, along with
Hyrule Podcasters. Thanks for listening, everybody. We love you. Stay safe.
Oh man. Guys, seriously, thank you so much for listening to this, a bonus episode of Sacred Realms, a Zelda retrospective podcast. We have more coming your way with a variety of wonderful people this season. Feel free to go check out our back catalog. As always, if you're jumping into this podcast for the first time, head back and check out some of the past games that we've played. A lot of those are great seasons and some good content there. In the meantime, may your hearts be full. May your arrows never miss. We will catch y'all next time.
Beep, 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 beep.
Sacred Realms is an independent podcast production, which is produced, edited, and mixed by me, Lyndon Willoughby. Our music comes from Zelda and Chill by Mikkel and is graciously provided to us by Mikkel and Game Chops Records. Zelda and Chill is available to stream on Spotify or to purchase directly from GameChops.com. Finally, our thanks go to Nintendo for creating such exceptional and innovative experiences.
Conduit Media.